comfort food for today, and I hope you enjoy your snack. But instead of like my normal like videos, video because I only posted one video so far, it's because like a lot of schoolwork and everything. I'm actually procrastinating doing math right now, honestly. But yeah, instead of like a video essay that I plan to do, and I'm still planning because I'm still writing it, I'm making this a simple little podcast where I don't want to talk too much. I can talk about whatever I want, and I can talk for how long I want. Little fun fact about me, actually. When I was in grade 7, back in like the online school days, I actually did something like this called the Talk About It podcast, where I did like kind of like the similar kind of thing. And I don't know, I felt some like kind of joy in that. And I feel like that's a lot with life, or like my life, where I try to find a lot of joy in what I want to do and what I like want to try. And like that's like a no duh thing, right? Like, obviously, we look for something that is enjoyable and makes us happy, but then some people forget that for some reason. I don't know why, but I guess a way to segue into the thing I wanted to talk about mainly is just relationships, and this isn't like it isn't your standard romance relationship. It's just like more than that because I wanted to talk about like friends and online friends, and then there's still romance in that and everything. But the reason why I really wanted to talk about it recently is mainly my problem with friends I have, and also like the internet overall, which is like a whole topic I can talk about the internet, because the internet's very weird right now. Like, I don't know if people heard, and I don't know if people care to be honest. But in a government building in the U.S., sorry if this triggers anyone, but in a government building in the U.S., there was AI videos of Donald Trump licking Elon Musk's feet. So I don't know. It felt like super weird to me that like some very smart hacker, because it's a government building, hacked into TVs and then showed that. But the internet is weird. It's abundant, and that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I don't know if you can tell. I do a lot of hand gestures and I talk a lot, so you kind of have to deal with that. I don't know if anyone's really going to listen to this. If they do, really great, really great. Oh yeah, by the way, say hello to my cat Theo. That's his name now. His name's Theo. I made this GIF. I didn't make the image, by the way. There's an image online based off this little cat here, and then I just made it more animated. There's my side tangents for today. I don't know how people really segue into like the topic they want to talk about in the podcast, but I mean, let's get into it, I guess. My experience with romance is like pretty simple. I don't want to get into like the sob story. Of course, everyone has like some sort of sob story in romance. So it's like, oh, I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't have any partners, and I never really had any partners. Or maybe it's like, I don't find any interest in romance, which perfectly fine, by the way. For some reason, us as a society, us as a community, we show romance and love so much, and I kind of want to talk about that later as well. But it's gotten to the point where it's really hard to tell what is real love at this point, and if we're just chasing for what seems to be the normal. You know what I mean? So for my experience with love and like romance, since I've like watched so much content when I was young about romance, and I wasn't like searching for it. It just like naturally came to me. I was very deep into the mindset that I should have a crush on somebody if they're just conventionally pretty, like objectively pretty. So, oh my gosh, back in my elementary, back in my elementary school, there's this one girl. Won't say the name, obviously, no duh, but you know, objectively pretty person, no real feelings there at all. My little kid brain was like, oh, you know, they're pretty, so I like them, I guess. Which, very dumb. I don't know why people in high school do it. I know people in my high school do it for some reason. Like, oh, she has this attribute that I won't mention, or he has this attribute. It's just a part of the gift of liking someone, honestly. Like, I love my partner. She's amazing. Her looks, another add-on. Another thing to love about her. Overall, though, she's more than her looks. She's like one one funny joke that I actually asked a couple in my high school was if their partner was more pretty than smart or more smart than pretty. Ask your partner that. Why? It's funny. It doesn't harm anyone. If it does, I'm so sorry, but it shouldn't harm anyone. It's a silly little dumb joke. And back to the topic, my experience with romance. Of course, when I liked this person, we didn't end up together. Obviously, it was like in a very young grade, before grade 6, so like middle school. I don't know if it's grade 6 is like middle school, but from what I know, it is basically middle school. We didn't really get together. I'm pretty sure they rejected me, like indirectly, or they did it straight to my face. I know, basically after that time, and we saw each other again, their boyfriend, they like hate me for some reason. I think they hate me. I don't know. They're like weirdly rude to me and everything, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. Moreover, just like confuses me. Like, you're already dating the person I liked, and I don't even care about them anymore. And now apparently they're getting hated on by other of my friends. Like, oh, she's a bad person and da 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 da. I don't know why drama works like that. So yeah, that's my that's my bad experience with romance when I was a child. I liked someone. I actually liked a lot of people. I don't know if this happens to some other people, where in elementary school, when you're so used to like the process of having a crush on someone, you start having a crush on so many people. Like, it got to the point where I was talking to my cousin before, and I was like, "Oh, I like this girl, and I like this girl, and I like this girl, and this one," and then I felt so bad for her because she just had to hear me talk about all these girls that I did not properly like at all. But it's like, oh yeah, I like them because they're pretty, and I swear it's more than just their looks. When in reality, it wasn't. It really was just me being like, oh, they're so super pretty. And because of that, when I got into high school, I really wanted to calm things down. Like, admittedly, not the best. I wasn't the best with love and relationships, even after that whole debacle. Like, in online school, thankfully, I had a good break from romance, like very intense romance, because everyone was lonely during COVID. If you weren't lonely, probably because you're already talking to somebody at the time. But everyone was, they didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. So yeah, I had my good little break, and I reflected on myself a little bit. And then when I got into grade 8 in high school, it was like I wanted to die things down, but like in my head biologically, I guess it like didn't like render properly. Also, I just realized how like bad my lighting is. Woo, oh my gosh, I look like, that's way better lighting. Oh yeah, let's go. We're going as we roll. But yeah, in grade 8 and my high school, like the start of my high school, I really wanted to die things down, and my friends, one of my friends will definitely object me for like lying about that, because I got into more than one relationship, but they were so short, and they were so, I can talk about so long the mistakes I made, the like small mistakes they made, the causes of everything. But admittedly, I wasn't the best person, and I think I really had to just shut myself down with that. I've had a very bad experience with romance, and it got to the point where I wanted to give up on a lot of things because I felt very lonely, even like after my whole phase in elementary school, which for some reason I have to say, I know it sounds really bad to say, oh, I had a phase in elementary, and then people say, but you're too young. I'd say I did. I'd say I had like a bad time most of the time. Like, I had my good times, don't get me wrong, but then there's like times where I just it wasn't it at all. But then yeah, in late grade 9, it was like in the middle of the whole season, I really wanted to just give up on everything. This isn't implying like, if you know what I mean, just like give up on the stuff I liked. Like, give up on my music, give up on writing, give up on relationships, focus on work. Maybe that's the only kind of solstice. I don't know if I'm using that word right. My only kind of solstice I can have for life. If the screen just went dark, I'm sorry. This is filmed on a Mac. Like I said, we're learning as we go. But I really had a bad experience with romance. But then my partner came along, and we started talking, and I started liking them a lot. And here comes the next problem I had when I first started my relationship. To preface, she's an amazing person, very mature, very nice, very pretty. I'm sorry. That's so bad. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's an amazing person. She makes me super happy. But at the start of my relationship, as a preface, I had a very bad connotation, very bad feeling, for lack of a better word from my head. Very bad feeling with relationships and romance, and I already had like other personal problems, but I wanted to give it a try because she seemed to have something about her, which I don't know how love does it. Don't ask me. I'm like not even in uni yet, but love just feels something. Love just feels that way, and it's super cool. Don't get me wrong, but it just feels like something. And a problem I had starting my relationship that I think a lot of people would like have a problem with is just not knowing what a healthy relationship really is, especially if you were in a toxic relationship. I was never really in a toxic relationship, but like even if you weren't in any relationships, there's just a sense of wanting perfectionism that I think is really hard for people to understand. You shouldn't have perfectionism in your relationship. I think there's some sort of argument that the bare minimum isn't that bad. Of course, if you're just doing the bare minimum for your partner, that sucks. That's pretty trashy, right? You gotta put some effort in there. But like, I'm gonna put some more like info. My relationship as of right now is long distance, and we can't talk to each other as much as we want to. Trust me, if they were with me in like in my high school, I would be with them so much more. I would talk to them so much more. But as a long distance, we actually talk like a good amount. We She keeps me updated, I keep her updated. We get to call sometimes. We get to have our little movie nights. It's great. But for people who are not used to long distance or just not used to relationships, it can feel like you're doing something wrong for some reason. I felt like I was doing something wrong at one point because she was busy. Everyone gets busy, obviously. But then it starts getting in my head for some reason. And it's like, it's such a dumb thing to think, oh, they don't like me anymore because they're not talking to me as much. No, you just have an independent life. I know it sounds so simple that I have a life, you have a life, she has a life, your mom has a life. So sorry if you don't have a mom. I take that joke back so much. But everyone has their own lives, and I think that's a topic that could be talked about for like a little while at one point. But like, if your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner wants to hang out with their friends, God forbid, don't let them like stay with you the whole time. Trust me, if I was stuck in a room with my partner, I'd have a great time. But then it would be at one point where it's like we'd have to stay quiet for each other. Because what? You can't talk to a person for an infinite amount of time, even your partner. Because if you think you can really talk to your partner for an infinite amount of time, that's perfect. That's great. But for me, I run out of things to talk about, like any other human being. She runs out of things to talk about, like any other human being. Her brain needs to rest and recharge. She needs to have her own independent time. Same thing for me. I need to focus on work when I need to, and that's perfectly fine. I'm so sorry if you see my mouse coming in and out, but to be honest, you're just listening to this. That probably just disturbed you when I said this. I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to get better at this kind of podcast then. But don't strive for perfectionism in anything, really. But for relationships, don't imagine that you're like every single day or at least once a month or like even once every 2 months that you guys are going to be together, sleeping on each other's shoulders, on a hill, grassy hill with the sunset. You guys are like doing a picnic or something like that. That's not going to happen once every 2 months. And it's another thing where it's like the spark. I hate talking about the spark because people leave the relationship for some reason because they don't have the spark, quote unquote, anymore. The spark is just what happens at the start of the relationship and what comes after the relationship. Not like after as in like you guys broke up, but like what happens after the start, like during the relationship. Sorry, I forgot during was a word. But throughout the relationship, you're gonna get those spark moments. The same reason why you guys are gonna get those down moments, where it's like you guys can't talk too much because both of you are busy, or like they want more independent time, or like maybe nothing happens that month, maybe nothing happens that week, and that's perfectly okay. Want to know why? There's literal days documented where the news was so boring that nobody even tried caring to watch it. Search up the most boring day for news history, and if it feels like that for the whole week, that's perfectly fine. Want to know why? The world keeps moving, we keep going, and then we get to be with our partner at the end of it all. That's what I think so far. Honestly, my thoughts are very scattered, so that might not be exactly what I think, but the general consensus is just don't strive for perfectionism. Don't think you have to talk to your partner every single day, especially in a long distance relationship. Talk to them when you want to. And if you want to talk to them a lot, that's great. But for the day, if you just want to relax and do nothing, perfectly fine as well. Want to know why? Because you're you. And if your partner doesn't like it, then they don't fully like you. By the way, fully is the word underlined and bolded and italicized. That doesn't mean you have to break up with them. Please. Because, like, here's the thing about breaking up, right? It's such a big thing. It's as hard and as impactful as starting the relationship. Obviously, again. But it's only as impactful as the relationship was valuable. If the relationship lasted a week, you shouldn't be sad for a month's worth or a year's worth, unless you have like something going on in your life. You shouldn't be sad for like a year because of a weak relationship. You really shouldn't. If you are, talk to someone about it. Really, talk to anyone about it. Heck, if you don't like talking to people, write it down. Put it in a journal. Heck, even if you don't like that, say it out loud. Whisper it to yourself. Because at least you're getting it out there. And it just feels so much more better, so freeing to get it out in some way or another. And like another thing I like really wanted to go over is just being long distance. Long distance relationships are really hard to get through, obviously, because you guys don't have the physical kind of aspect of relationships, and it's fully based off communication. And even more sadly, if you guys are living in different time zones, that communication gets even harder. You know what gets even harder? School. And then it gets harder, like family life and friends. And there's so much barriers to the communication that I also dealt with in our long distance relationship. And I don't want to give like tips and tricks on how to do a long distance relationship. I haven't dated my partner for that long, for long enough to like give those kind of tips. But I can say this. There's a way to do it that can fulfill you for your needs. You just have to be grateful and content. Again, not a therapist, not a relationship like advisor. It's just like my personal like kind of experience. I've learned to be very grateful for even the small things. And I think that should like go along with a lot of parts of life, where we should be more grateful for even the smallest things we have. Like, hold on. You see this mouse? If I didn't have this mouse, I would have to use a trackpad. A trackpad. Do you know how difficult it is to use a trackpad for anything? Drawing sucks on a trackpad. Playing games suck on a trackpad. I'm so grateful for this mouse. And like freaking this iPhone 5. Don't ask me why I have this iPhone 5. I'm grateful for this. Wanna know why? I got smarter with it, question mark. I'd like to think I got smarter with it. Maybe I got more dumb because of all the games. But it made me who I am, this iPhone 5. Plus, it's like a funny joke. Like, I just walk around. I go to school one day, oh, I have an iPhone 5. What the hell is that? Oh, it's an iPhone 5. So yeah, I'm grateful for it. And like, this Rubik's Cube. I'm grateful for it. Want to know why? Taught me something. It's a like cute. It's a fun little hobby to do. It's something to fidget around with. be grateful for a lot of small things in your life. And then for long distance relationships, be grateful for the times you can talk to your partner. And the times where it's like you guys barely talk, appreciate that as well. Because they literally took the time in their life to talk to you. And also like remind you that they still care about you and have some attention for you. And then when they send that cute little, oh, I love you message, don't take it for granted. Please don't take it for granted. Because if they sent that, 90% of the time they mean it. I'm saying 90% because I don't know if you're on the precipice of being broken up with, and I'm so sorry if that happens. But 95% of the time, they fully mean that message. And it just makes me really happy for my partner to let me know each time, every day, that they do care about me, that they do love me. They can go on in their long distance relationship life not saying that at all. They can say it once every month, once every week, and that suck. But I would try to be grateful for it. But it would suck, right? So the fact that they say it every day is amazing. And they don't even like half-ass it. They don't put ILY. They say, I love you. I love you so much. I love you, insert my name. And it's very sweet. It's very genuine. I'm having tingles right now. But it's those kind of things that you really have to appreciate so that you can really take in the bigger things. Like, I have movie nights with my girlfriend sometimes. And I've learned to like do more than appreciate it. It's like a big special event, you know? And over the summer when I got to talk to her more, I now appreciate summers because that's more time that I could talk to people like her and like my friends and my family. I've learned to appreciate that. And I think being in a long distance relationship really taught me those kind of things, to like appreciate the small things in life. And most people should do that. But I will admit one thing about long distance relationships. It's kind of like a waiting for that moment kind of thing. Like at the start when you're not really like matured enough, it feels like you're waiting for a moment that you don't know when it's going to come. Unless you like plan stuff with your partner, which you should do. I don't plan stuff with my partner because she has her own schedule. But if you guys can somehow like put a schedule like, oh, we should talk on this day or we should do this on this day, do that. Really good. Really good if you do that. But most of the time, it just feels like you're going on each and every day in like the first few months of your relationship, waiting so that you can talk again. And that sucks when you're first in the relationship. But then when you accept it, when you learn that they're trying, when they reassure you that they're trying, ask your partner about their perspective on the relationship. Because that will really help. I've learned a lot from my partner that they really are committed to me. The same way I'm really committed to them. And that, I'm really grateful for it. Sorry, I like lost my words because I'm like reminding myself this right now. But it's good to remember that your partner's with you because they want to be with you. And then for a long distance relationship, it's good to be reassured that. That's why I think another aspect of long distance isn't just communications, it's also like reassurance. Reminding your partner, updating your partner about your day so that they know like what you're going through, what like reminding you, oh, you know I like this band. Because like, by the way, if you guys don't get to talk much, you might forget their favorite band. You might forget their favorite music artist. Perfectly fine, by the way. We're all dealing with our own stuff here. I don't remember my dad's birthday. Doesn't mean I hate him. Just means I forgot. And I live with my dad like throughout my whole life. I've talked to him like so much. Forgot his birthday. Completely out of my mind. Want to know why? I'm dealing with other things in life. Doesn't mean I don't prioritize him. Just means I forgot. And that's simply it. I think there's some sort of conversation that should be like talked about where it's overthinking things, really causing a domino effect in your head when there's just one simple answer. I forgot my dad's birthday because I forgot. It's not I forgot my dad's birthday because I don't care about him because he's so mean to me, blah, 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 blah. It's none of that. It's really none of that. And then for long distance, it applies to everything that I talked about before. I don't want to just keep going on and like repeat my words. But that's how I really feel about long distance relationships. But I guess another thing, other than like that waiting moment thing, is of course loneliness. In a long distance relationship, you're obviously going to feel lonely at times, especially when they're with friends or with family or just at school. You could admittedly feel like they don't give you enough time, when in reality, they give you so much time. They give you enough time. And it's a thing where you have to stay positive and remind yourself that. And also, like, really reflect on what you're doing. If you think that you're really putting the effort, ask yourself, are you really? And it's not a bad thing to ask. It's not like, oh, I'm not putting enough effort, I'm so bad. It's just, you have to realize if you reflect on how much effort you put, you can put that perspective on them and also how they think. And that's why you should really ask those questions to your partner, like, oh, what's your everyday life like? And if they're confused about that question, just try explaining it more. I'm so sorry if you can't explain it more, but it's just like how I think, mainly, because I get lonely sometimes. She hangs out with her friends. Perfectly fine, by the way. Oh my gosh. If I get a comment on how I might be toxic, I'm not trying to say that her hanging out with her friends is bad. I just get lonely sometimes. But you have to stay positive. That's another aspect about long distance relationships. Communication, reassurance and updating, and then staying positive. Okay, well, that's kind of like the same thing, reminding yourself. You have to remind yourself that they're with you for a reason. I'm saying this again. Oh my gosh. Stay positive. You know what I mean? For your relationship. Because you're in a relationship. Ask people who aren't in a relationship if they are sad. Actually, don't ask that. That's really rude. Assume. That's also really bad. Be grateful. Like I said, be grateful for the small things in life. Be grateful that someone loves you and openly says that. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is useless. I just like talking about it. You know what I mean? It's like something to just like really get out there. One bad thing about relationships though, especially with like a long distance relationship, is just social media. Social media is terrible. It's absolutely horrendous for long distance relationships and any relationship. Like for TikTok. I'm I'm a victim of doom scrolling. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people are a victim of doom scrolling. You're watching this. That's bad. But please keep watching. Thank you so much if you're up to this point for some reason. Genuinely, thank you so much. But on TikTok for like relationships, there's so many people in the comments of like even positive things like, oh, being with my partner for 10 years. Oh, we just got married. There's for some reason like toxic people or depressed people like, oh, I tried that and they left me. And it gets in your head, right? Because it's the type of people that you'd relate to, like commenters, people in your like society and community. But then they're saying stuff that can fit in your scenario when in reality doesn't fit well in your scenario at all. Wonder why? They're a completely different person. And another thing, my girlfriend reposts stuff on her TikTok. Sometimes the reposts get in my head for no reason, by the way. Like, it can be a song, a breakup song that she reposts, and I get all scared. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. When in reality, just a banger song. It's honestly just like a really good song. Or it can be just like a past experience before. There's a lot of things that your partner can repost. There's a lot of things that your partner can like. That doesn't apply to your relationship. Wonder why? Because it's not that deep. I don't know how much I have to say this. Maybe I'm thinking too simple. Someone can have an argument for that. But I know from my relationship, she just likes songs. She just likes certain books. She just likes certain movies. The same way I like certain songs and certain books and certain movies. It's really not that crazy. But social media makes you think it's that crazy and that deep. Because obviously, when you see that kind of stuff, you're having like that main character syndrome kind of effect, like, oh, is it about me? Or are they referring to me? When in reality, it's about your partner. They like have some sort of connection. I don't say connection. That might get the wrong idea. They like the song. They like the movie. They like the book. Or maybe they hate it. Maybe they're reposting it because they hate it. Probably not the reason why. But like, I don't know. I'm not a relationship advisor. But I don't know. There's some people who like repost stuff because they think it's cringe or like ironic, like what memes. I don't think memes fit into this. But yeah, social media is just genuinely bad for romance because there's so much sad people on there. It's perfectly fine to vent on the internet, by the way. But like you have to understand, if people are gonna see you're venting, they're gonna get the wrong idea about their relationship as well, and they're probably gonna start overthinking, like you did. Maybe you're overthinking your relationship right now. Probably not. Hopefully not, actually. So my tip for that: don't trust everything on the internet, obviously, and don't apply it to your real life. If a couple broke up because of one reason that might connect to yours, in reality, doesn't connect to yours at all. By the way, did a cut because people come into my room. Gotta realize I'm still a teenager. I don't know why I do this kind of stuff where I just go on side tangents. Just feels natural. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't don't trust everything on social media. Really bad for you. Really bad for relationships. That's what I realized over time. And I guess one more thing I really want to talk about like the romance side of relationships, is just check up on your partner. Genuinely, it's really nice if you just ask your partner about their day, about how they're feeling, which is like obvious, right? If you really think about it, like, oh, obviously I ask them, or I already do this. No, really like try to go into it, especially for like long distance. The reason why I'm talking about this is mainly for long distance people. The more you like get to know your partner at even like the smallest scale, the more connected you feel and the less lonely you feel. And it's also just like overly, it's in general, it's nice to ask someone like, oh, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How, like, what are you proud of? You know, it feels so cheesy and cliche, right? So like you won't go up to like one of your like peers or classmates and like, oh, what are you proud of? That feels like something that a teacher would make you say. But maybe as something simple as saying, how's your day? What was your favorite part about today? People won't think you're too weird. They're going to be confused for like a second, but they're going to appreciate that you're asking them, right? Because it shows that you care about them. So that's mainly the things I wanted to talk about for like romantic relationships. But one problem, well, like many problems I've been having lately, were relationships with friends. Here's the thing, right? In high school, you don't know what the heck is going on because there's just so many people, right? Unless you live a simple life. I'm so happy for you if you live a simple life and not many people know you. Trust me, it's not that bad. You might glorify popularity, and admittedly, I'm not that popular. I'd say I'm well known. I'm well known enough. A decent amount of people know my name, and like well liked as well. So most people think I'm weird. Perfectly fine, by the way. But it's just a thing where it's like if you have a lot of friends or a lot of people that like you, it feels very chaotic, or at least to me, it feels very chaotic. Um, I guess one part of me that I should like preface with this is that I have some sort of social anxiety. I don't know how, I don't know why, but because I can go up to people and like randomly ask them, hey, what's up? Oh, how you doing? Or I can just go to like even a friend I didn't talk to much recently. Like if I haven't talked to them in like 2 months, I can just be like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? So I don't know why I have social anxiety, but then like I'm slowly learning about it. But it's a thing where it's like it's just really hard to know the reality of people, I guess. Because for me, some of my friends, sadly, aren't the best of people, especially when you know a lot of people. You hear a lot of perspectives on like high school drama, and it just feels very daunting being friends with some people while that drama goes on. Like, here's an example. Let's call this person, I'm gonna use a toy for this. This person's name is Jennifer. Sure. Jennifer isn't the best of people. Like, they're smart. Don't get me wrong. Well, not too smart, but like, but they just want to live life however they want. Perfectly fine, by the way. Don't hate them. Don't hate them at all. But you know why I feel like I should hate them? It's because Bubo here. Let's just call him Bubo. Bubo has beef with Jennifer because Bubo thinks Jennifer has beef with Bubo. People who are at my high school might try guessing what kind of drama this is. If you already guessed it, good job on you. I don't want to expand further. But it's a thing where it's like, do I support Bubo and hate this person now? Even though if I do, my life won't change much, but I'll just like feel very bad about it. Or do I support Jennifer here, make Bubo very uncomfortable with me because I support this person that they think is like bad and has done bad things? Or do I try supporting both and make myself like the medium, which could be like its own like kind of could be its own like philosophy kind of like video thing about how staying in the middle isn't the best, because it really isn't. I know there's a lot of argument of why staying in the middle is the best, but there's a lot of like talk about that I don't want to talk. I don't want to get into because that's a whole other like thing. But it's the difficulty of trying to balance, even like those are two people only. If you like factor in all like everyone that I know, it gets insane in my head, and that's why I've been having a hard time. I've been having a hard time of having an unhealthy balance of disliking some of my friends, but then having this wanting, or like not wanting, but like feeling that I need them, right? Because cutting ties with friends is always difficult. It's like you lose, I don't want to say a part of yourself. It's like you lose a part of your, like one part of your life, basically. Even if they're insignificant, if you stop being friends with them, if they're connected to another person, then you lose that person. Like maybe lose that person. Maybe it's like, I think simply for like romantic relationships, but not friends yet. I don't know why. I'm just like not that educated into like friend relationships yet. That's why I'd say I'm even worse in this kind of case. But recently I've been having a hard time with that, where I don't know who I want to be friends with. I don't know who my friends are at this point. I don't know who likes me at this point. Like, even though I'd say I'm well likable enough, that just means enough people in my head are willing to talk to me. But even then, the people who are willing to talk to me, and it's one difficulty, like recently, where friends, the normal is just teasing each other. And then for me, perfectly fine, by the way. I tease my friends, then sometimes they tease me, perfectly fine. But it gets to you sometimes, where you're not feeling your best, but you don't want to say that much, because then they might accuse you of being a little sensitive, being a little baby, which, maybe they won't be like that, but it's that feeling that they might be like that. And that's the difficulty I have. So it's just like, do I just stop talking to some people? Do I entirely cut ties and everything? Because for me, there's this one friend group, won't say any names, and it's just filled with not the best of people, but has people that are like wonderful. I'm gonna say one name. Actually, no, I won't say his real name. Let's call him Robert. Robert, very intelligent guy. Friends with friends within the friend group. I'm using so much words, but Robert is such an amazing guy that I always want to be close to. And since he also wants to get away from that friend group, I feel like I have to really attach to him, because he's trying to like culminate something, not culminate, like like I don't know how to say it, but he unconsciously culminates a group that I'm more comfortable with because they're more quiet. The problem with that, I might be too loud, and sometimes that's a problem with me, where I always feel like I'm too loud. And that's the main reason why I've been having a problem with friends, where it's just the difficulty of, since people think I'm weird sometimes, it's really hard. And like, even my friends say it, that I'm weird. And it's perfectly fine to be weird. But when you're by yourself and you remind yourself of these things, it gets to you. It really gets to you. That's what I find funny really about this. That I'm super like mature and educated with romantic relationships, but for some reason I can't apply it to friendships, which I'm pretty sure I can apply it to friendships. It just feels very weird and very hard to do. Because, like, people aren't the best. My friends aren't the best. I'd say, like, another problem I have is just not knowing who my best friend is. Because I don't even know what a best friend is anymore, right? If a best friend is just someone I'd say is close to me enough, I have a bunch of best friends. But that shouldn't work like that, right? You can have a lot of best friends. You can have your own, like, personal best friend group. But best friend, I don't really know if I have any best friends. The only person, like, people I can really think of is, like, people from my old school. Or, like, there's at least one person I consider as my best friend from, not from my old school. And that just feels right to me, but also feels very wrong. It makes me feel like I'm less connected to a lot of people that would want to be connected with me. But then again, there's an argument for, like, in reality, nobody cares about you. And that's very egotistical to think a lot of people care about you. It's just a lot. That's just, like, a lot about what I think. And it feels very chaotic. And I get really stressed with that. It's like, hard for me to, like, get into depth. Because it's just so weird, right? It's really weird talking about this because it feels dumb. Even if it's not. It's really not, by the way. If you feel like this, it's not dumb at all. But I'm trying to understand it. And I'm trying to get through it. I can say for certain by the end of this, there are, like, two results. One, everything stays the same, and I have the same or more friends. Or two, I successfully eradicate people from my life. I cut ties. And only stick with the people that I think would make me think more positively and be more grateful from, like, I would be more grateful for who I'm with. Because recently, that it doesn't feel like that. I don't want to say I'm not comfortable at school. Very comfortable at school. It's just when I get home, that's where it all gets to me. And I think that that's the truth for a lot of people, where it's really hard to admit this kind of thing, because, like, when you're in the moments, like, when you're at school, you seem so, like, happy and jolly, right? But then when you get home, it gets in there. Really gets in there. Really makes you think, did I fuck up this today? That's the first time I swore on this. So sorry if you don't like swearing, but did I really mess this up today? Do I want to cut ties with them tomorrow? And how would I even do that? What are the effects of it? And I think it's something that I don't want to say therapist, but I guess it's a therapist, but something that my therapist said. It's like, life is really just like cooking. Even if you have all the correct ingredients, if you don't do the right things, you're not going to get the best result. And if you don't have all of the correct ingredients, you're definitely not going to make the thing you like. But if you just take it step by step, have a good balance of not doing it too fast and not doing it too slow, you'll get a result that isn't perfect, but it's enjoyable. You know, it's like the difference between homemade food and gourmet. You might not have that gourmet, but having homemade food's pretty nice. It's a very comfortable feeling. Of course, you don't want, like, 2-day-old macaroni and cheese, even that if that's, like, a pretty nice and not that bad. You wouldn't prefer it over, like, just freshly made muffins? I don't know. But something like that. And the way it applies to the whole friend thing is just, if I cut ties with friends, I don't know if I'm going to get the best result, but it might help me think more simply if I deal with less people that are not the greatest for me. And there's, like, another problem with that, and it's just online friends. And the problem I have with online friends is just, like, most of my online friends, they're amazing. They're great people. I don't know why. Online friends are, like, weirdly amazing people that you always want to talk to. But the thing about them with being online is, for some reason, it gets to one point where you just stop talking to them randomly. But it's not like weird or bad or anything. It's just off because both of you silently agreed that you don't want to talk to each other much. Because of course you don't have that physical connection unless you have that like goated online friend that you're always talking to, which good for you by the way. But for me, most of the time with online friends, it's like they're amazing people. I always catch up to them, like catch up with them at one point. But then it's also like I always get to that point where I don't talk to them anymore, and I feel lonely. I think this part of the podcast is mainly just me admitting sometimes I feel lonely, and sometimes life gets chaotic, even if I have one part of it solved, the romance side of it, and not even I have that fully solved yet, because there's still a lot to learn from it. But I think I'm going through it. I think I'm learning, and I think that's really. I think I have to be grateful for that, and I think a lot of people should be grateful for the relationships they have. Like even if you have a small amount of friends, be grateful for that. I think I'm repeating my words because it really should be emphasized that people should be more grateful, that they have to think more positively, and really remind themselves. Yeah, that's like the general message for today, you know? And it's weird because there's like this one other problem that I have is just like being the therapist friend. I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but like some people would say, "Oh, I'm a therapist friend. Oh, I help my friend go through this when they're feeling this and blah 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 blah." But one thing about therapist friends is that they kind of forget sometimes that they're not a therapist, and they're also not the other person. Don't be a therapist friend by being a therapist. Be a therapist friend by being a friend. You know what I mean? And even if that's confusing or if you disagree with it, the way I see it is just like, hear them out. Don't give them advice at first, especially if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and especially if the problem's really big. Because the fact that someone listens to you is already good enough. I think the reason why I like wanted to make this, okay, I'm gonna put you on a little secret. The reason why I wanted to start making this is really just to let my thoughts out onto something, to really just express myself some way or like another. And this has really helped me because sometimes life gets very confusing, life gets very messy, and you don't know what to do. But I think there's some joy in that because it lets us reflect on what we can do, on what we can control. Even though, like when I was when I was in elementary, I didn't get with the person that I originally liked, quote unquote liked, I ended up here. I ended up being very artistic. Don't make that like a funny joke. Oh, he's autistic. Oh, actually, I'm diagnosed with anxiety. So, but yeah, it's just I'm very grateful for what has happened to me in my life because I play guitar now, dude. I'm getting into writing and I'm doing this, but life still gets confusing sometimes, and we really have to express ourselves when it does get confusing, so that it can get more simple. And then after that, we can remind ourselves, we're doing really good. I think next episode, I would want to talk about how reality, we like see it as negative a lot of times. But I think that's where I want to stop. With like the final message just being, genuinely get up and breathe. Just taking one big breath, and then after that, message a random person, a person by the way, a person but like message a friend, message your mom, or like talk to your mom, because you can actually like talk to them face to face. Try your best to do face to face here, but tell them how you feel about them. Say that you care about them, or maybe say that you don't feel the best about that person, and you just want to get that off your chest. Because one thing about life that everyone should have is honesty. Because if we're not honest, we're not living our life as ourselves. We're living life with all the abundance and chaos that it causes us. That's your comfort food for today. I'm all out of juice. My brain is all calm now, so there's no more talking I have anymore. Thank you so much if you listened all the way through. I'm probably going to do more stuff like this. It's actually been very enjoyable. Hopefully with like less technical issues and less cuts because my parents come in, or like my sister. But thank you for watching, genuinely. It feels really nice if you watch this. And if you have your own problems, try getting in contact with me. I would love to talk to people. But again, thank you so much. I've been your comfort food. I've been your comfort food for today, and I hope you enjoyed your snack. Same time tomorrow? No? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, see ya.